Welcome to Starbucks. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo, live in Bradenton. With me, also live, we have Jim Rosati. We have Tyler Sweeney. What is up, everyone? How you doing? How you guys doing?
Yeah, I could be doing better, I guess. You know what? Shout out to Tyler this morning. He ordered us all coffee. Uber Eats, right?
Yep.
And first cup that he pulls out to hand out is mine, but then he drops it all over the floor. So there's a very large the coffee spill has been cleaned up, but there's a coffee aroma now in here. It's like we're actually doing this from a coffee shop.
So I'm pretty sure that's just me.
Yeah, because there's coffee on you.
Covered in coffee.
Yeah, there's coffee on you. Everyone has coffee now except for me. So
And you know how we're always late on these shows, and we have people to blame for. So we were ready. I mean, we were up at like 6:30. I feel like the latest, all ready to go. 7 o'clock. Tyler had the coffee ready. Coffee's getting ordered. We had the show at 7:10, perfectly timed. And Tyler spills the coffee all over the place.
Can we just mention that I also ordered Jim a new coffee?
yeah. Also, shout out to Tyler. He reordered the coffee that he spilled.
And the one coffee cost me more than all four of our coffees.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Tyler.
Sometimes
is there an ETA on that, by the way?
My phone's in my pocket, so I don't quite know because it's apparently rush hour for Uber Eats. I don't know. We don't have that at home.
Okay. Because I could use it here pretty soon.
Jim gave me the look of, or he actually said, "You don't have to order me another coffee," but I knew the look of, "Order me another coffee."
Oh, he definitely yelled at you with his eyes.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think I was very mature about the situation because you did a good deed. You didn't have to get us coffee.
It was either order you a new coffee or you were gonna go get in the car and go get a new coffee and then complain about it all day.
Fair.
So I just got out in front of it, ordered you a new one.
May I just add how good my coffee tastes?
See, at least I'm not rubbing it in, but it's also my fault.
Yeah, it's okay. We're all good. It'll be here soon.
But anyways, we're live in Bradenton. We've been here since Sunday, having a good time. A lot of this, actually. There's a lot of hatred behind the scenes. We don't get along. But no, for real. So last night we watched the last of the WBC. Japan.
Yep.
USA. Good game. Do we want to talk about the WBC at all a little bit?
Let's go ahead and do that. Let's make that our single shot.
So we should make that our single shot. We have a super producer behind the scenes. And boy, is he good. Look at that. We got the single shot going. Good job, Cody. I'm proud of you. But let's go ahead. Let's get into WBC. So what do you want to talk about with that game?
USA lost.
USA lost, but I mean, I don't know if you could have scripted a better game overall. I mean, it ended with Ohtani coming in to close it out. Last out of the game, Mike Trout strikes him out on a 3-2 slider. It was just a really, really good game. It was a really good tournament overall. A lot of the games were super exciting. I think it was cool to see all the players get really, really excited about the games, and it clearly meant something to everybody who was involved. So yeah, big step forward for the World Baseball Classic. It's been a while since we've had one. And yeah, it delivered for sure. Kind of gets you excited about the season coming up.
Can we also, just to take this off on a little side note, can we get some real managers in that for the Team USA? Because that was not pretty. Not great managerial decisions made by DeRosa last night. And you could tell he's an analyst and not an actual manager. And when you have a team like that, really, do you have to manage? I mean, at the very least, you should know when a guy's not throwing a strike in the championship game, maybe you don't leave him out there for 7 batters.
Yeah, who was it? Adam, Jason Adam. Didn't have it last night. That kind of turned out to be the difference, really.
Yeah, and I would just say, like, just in general, the pitching was pretty bad. So might be kind of cool if USA might get some pitchers next time.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like, Merrill Kelly starting the championship game. I mean, there was no Verlander, no DeGrom, no Scherzer.
Yeah.
Those dominant pitchers from America, they all kind of sat out of this.
And you can say that's kind of the difference too. Like when you have Ohtani coming out of your bullpen to close out the game, like that's the situation they're in. They had Ohtani
following Darvish.
With Darvish, right? Who actually he's
Yeah.
the one to give the home run too.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, that was pretty lethal.
Yeah, it would have been, like I said, a USA win would have been pretty cool. I think, had they won, Trey Turner, obviously would have been an MVP. Who had just an incredible series, big hit after big hit.
WBC record, right? 5 home runs.
5 home runs, but Ohtani well deserving of the MVP of the tournament, and again, just great for baseball overall. Like I was reading going into yesterday's game, the Japanese audiences for those games were insane, and so last night's game, I haven't looked at the numbers this morning, but it was supposed to be the most watched baseball game of all time. So just kind of think about it that and like just kind of cool. Like that's like the sport, is it dying? Is it not dying? I don't know, but more people just watch the baseball game than ever before. So that's pretty neat.
And like to go back to your point about not a better script, right? Like if that's going to be the most watched game of baseball, what a game to watch, regardless of like who won. Like you said, like Ohtani versus Trout at the very end, like that's the matchup of ages. And Ohtani won, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, like just a great game to watch in general. So as I kept saying last night, baseball won.
Baseball won. And then, David Bednar played a pretty decent role on Team USA. He pitched last night, won an inning, scoreless inning of relief. So, yeah, good stuff. A lot of Pirates involved, too, across all the other countries.
Yeah, I'm sure they're waking up this morning wanting coffee, too. They probably got theirs.
Yeah, they probably did.
In my defense, I was really hoping it was mine that spilled.
You did. I'll give you that. Like, by no means was it on purpose. Like, you were upset when it happened.
Trust me. Also, that's because it burned the shit out of me. You couldn't have got an iced coffee, Jim?
I could have, but I didn't.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about? Touch on the WBC? Or should we go to our second shot?
Like we're kind of here for spring training.
All right,
go to shot 2.
Let's do it. And we're back. So with our second shot here, let's talk about our time in Bradenton. So as we mentioned, we got here Sunday. I think, Tyler, you were the first to hit, right? You touched down in Sarasota. You Ubered here. Like a child, you were confused on what to do. So we walked you through
I went to the wrong door, dude. I didn't realize that there were 2 like doors for this place. It's like a duplex type of deal. And I went to the wrong one.
Yeah. But Tyler made it. I picked up Cody, picked up Jim. We got here like around what? 7-ish?
Probably right around 7.
Yeah. So
Sunday
we've been
night.
here since Sunday, since 7. So far, what have we done? We've gone to Sarasota. We've gone to Fort Myers.
Fort Myers.
Watched the Red Sox game. We watched the game yesterday in Bradenton. Went to Pirate City for a little bit. And then we've ate and drank quite a bit.
Yeah. No, it's been a fun trip overall. I had a busy week.
Busy.
A busy wizzy.
Oh, I'm using busy wizzy all the time.
Hey, this is what happens when we do this show before I have my coffee. I say things like busy wizzy. Okay. So I had a busy week last week. So it's been nice to just like relax down here for the beginning part of this week. So that's been pretty cool. But no, 2 games so far. It was my first time at JetBlue Park down in Fort Myers. What did you guys think about JetBlue Park?
Tyler, your first time there?
I mean, it's a really, really nice ballpark. Really good replication of Fenway. I am kind of partial to Lecom, but if you're just looking at architecture and aesthetics, JetBlue is beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty much my take. Like I said, going in there, like architecture wise, like JetBlue looks really, really cool. I mean, it's like that's a professional stadium, right? And you find out, I actually did think, I told you guys too, like there's a minor league team that plays there. There isn't. Like it's just the Red Sox that play there. I guess it costs $78 million just for the Red Sox to play spring training. So that's what happens when you have money. But outside of that, yeah, like it was, like I said, very professional, but that's what it was, very professional. You walk in, you watch a game. Whereas, like you were talking about Lecom, it's a much greater like, environment. But yeah,
Lecom is a vibe.
yeah. But JetBlue, very, very nice.
Yeah, I like JetBlue. Like I said, I think you guys nailed it. The fact that the dimensions of the park are the exact same as Fenway is pretty cool. Like having the green monster in left field, all that stuff. Yeah, I guess similar vibes. Like what I got, like definitely the crowd at JetBlue and just the environment. It's more conducive to like we're here to watch baseball type of stuff. Whereas at Lecom, it's like come here and have fun while a baseball game happens. So yeah, that's probably a good comparison. Like very similar to like PNC Park. Like that's kind of how you sell PNC Park is, hey, ballpark's awesome. Come here, hang out, and have a good time while there's a baseball game going on.
Right. And then you just stand in right field behind the bullpen. And then someone tells you, you know what, guys, we should walk away. And the moment you walk away, Onel Cruz hits a baseball to where you were literally standing.
I'm just trying to do my job here.
There's our producer.
Yeah, we we were in that spot for what, 4 innings or so,
Like,
and then all of a sudden it's like, let's move, and we move, and then 30 seconds later, a baseball off of O'Neill Cruz's bat just lands directly where we were standing 30 seconds before.
It made for good content.
that's Cody won.
We did get a nice side view though of the the majestic Cruz foul ball home run.
Very much so.
I don't know if I should ask Cody about his 13% pina colada or not.
That was after the pina colada.
Listen, no free ads, but those cut waters were great.
So it is a free ad. That's what you're saying.
No free shots.
Oh, it definitely wasn't free to him because
Yeah, all I say is
Cody was
Cody.
having a good time.
Cody was having the time of his life yesterday. He was like a little kid in a candy store, for real.
I had a great time. Said hi to Robbie like 5 times.
He was shouting out all the cameraman. Robbie.
Cameraman,
He
hey,
did. He was loving Robbie. You know, we had a really good interaction with the pirate parrot too.
Yeah.
So that was more me.
yeah, Jim met up with an old friend.
Yeah, I had a nice conversation with the parrot. It went well. I was asking him how his spring was going. I think he's ready. Like we saw his moves yesterday at the game. I think the parrot is ready for the season.
Yeah, Parrot's ready to go.
Mid-season form.
It was a fun time. I mean, not much more to add other than inside the game stuff.
Tyler, you
Like,
got your coffee. Wake up, man.
it is.
You don't have to be that depressed. that you ruined
7:48 in the
Jim's
morning. I got burnt after I got burnt yesterday from the sun. I'm not doing great this morning, boys. And this is my first Starbucks.
Well, this wouldn't be your first Starbucks
Correct.
if DiNardo had woke up the first time.
Correct.
And it wouldn't be your last one if you didn't spill Jim's coffee.
And honestly, I'm just staring at that floor right now, thinking of how I'm going to clean that mess up.
Yeah, there's still a little bit.
How much are we
down
being
there.
charged for that?
That's why I'm trying to
Yeah, we
figure
better
out
not lose
how
our
I'm going to.
our cleaning deposit or something.
Tyler, you're on vacation. Don't worry about it.
That's just not me.
So, anyways, what else we got in store for our Bradenton? I guess to wrap up the second shot here.
So I think today's an off day, so we're just kind of chilling today. But you know, the plan is to hit up Pirate City again. I think there's an intra squad scrimmage. Jesus, see, this is why I need coffee. There's an intra squad scrimmage tomorrow. So I think we're hitting that up. And then we got
Oh, God.
God, there's a game tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
And then a game Saturday. So yeah, we got a couple more games. It'll be fun.
Yep. Game, like you said, game tomorrow, game Saturday that you and I will go to. Cody and Tyler will be headed down or back up north, I guess. But also going to go to a game on Friday, right? Orioles and Yankees.
Maybe. It's sold out.
Those were expensive tickets.
Yeah, we
Oh,
would have to pay.
It's sold out.
It's like $45 for standing room only tickets that night.
Yeah, I don't
so-
think we need to go to that game then.
so we might not have to go.
That's like big time dinner night.
Yeah, we can do
Cody's been
dinner.
thinking about
We'll
that
do
for
dinner.
a week.
Cody's been real excited about Friday dinner.
I get paid Friday, so we're going all out.
There
All
we go.
out.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about with, our trip so far? Bradenton? I guess just to put out there, because we did say tons of content coming, and so far we've almost been like radio silent. The content's coming. We're gonna have a lot of content being put together and edited. So after this week, there will be videos and such. But yeah, we're gonna have actual content. So again, this morning we had the show. We'll have an NS9 live as well, probably tomorrow night. Is that something we're planning on doing?
Probably.
Planning.
But yeah, it's a plan. Tentative.
Hopefully some guests maybe too.
There will be
We'll find out.
3 to 4 vlogs.
There you
come
go.
out from this trip.
That's your promise from Cody.
When they come out, not sure.
2024.
Yes,
Stay tuned.
It'll be the preview to our 2024 trip to Bradenton.
Yeah.
Right.
that works out.
So then I guess that'll wrap up this segment. Let's get into our last triple shot.
We didn't talk.
Yeah, so that wraps up Tyler's athleticness. Thank you, Tyler, for that.
Dude, I'm so much
So
better
going
every
forward
day,
to our triple
except for
shot,
wooden coffee.
let's talk about some of the current battles going on. We've talked a little bit about this before. Now we're here as well. Of course, it's another week gone past, but we've talked about the center field or outfield, I should say, in general, right? Battle going on, the second base battle going on. Is there anything a little more clear? Do we have any insight of like who might make this roster or those positions? I'll say this. I'll kick it off in a sense. Like,
Go ahead and kick it off.
I think our debate internally was starting with the outfield. Is Sawinski going to make the team or should he be in Indy? Because the way Caden Smith and Jigba's been playing, the way Swaggerty's been playing, like does Sawinski really deserve a spot? So I guess let's start there, the outfield.
Yeah, so I think I differ a little bit on this one from Tyler when we get to him. But I think as far as Jack Sawinski go, you have to look at like what he did last year too. Like it's not just what did he do this spring training, and the overall numbers, if you look at the stat line, aren't awful for Jack Sawinski. You got to get into the underlying stats like his strikeout percentage and things like that to really kind of be concerned. But his spring training stat line has been fine. So I don't know if he's necessarily done enough to lose the spot on the roster that he had. Like I said, the strikeouts are definitely concerning because that was an issue last year. But I think Sawinski is pretty firmly entrenched on this roster and probably in the starting lineup. Connor Joe is probably firmly entrenched. So that leaves like one spot out there for the outfield with Cal Mitchell being sent down. You do have Chavez Young coming back from the World Baseball Classic, so he's kind of out there competing for it. So you kind of got that one spot for Young, Smith and Jigba, Swaggerty. I think right now Swaggerty has the edge just because of the ability to play all three positions pretty well. We'll see how the rest of spring goes, but I think that would be my call if I had to pick that last outfield spot right now.
Yeah, so my argument here wasn't what we think the Pirates will do, which I think we've made kind of clear. We all knew Sawinski's has the inside track, and more than likely he's going to be on the major league roster on opening day. I don't think we really questioned that too much. It was more whether he should be. I don't think he deserves a spot over Smith and Jigba and Swaggerty. The Pirates do. He's going to be on the opening day roster. In terms of who they go with, I tend to agree with Jim here just because of the versatility of Swaggerty in the outfield. And I think there is something else to be said about possibly wanting to get Smith and Jigba every day at bats in AAA. I don't know if they feel the same way about Swaggerty, where he can play twice a week at the most, and they're not that concerned about him. Just because I don't know that he's really in their future plans. I had coffee.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I mean, just based off of how they've treated Swaggerty in the past, they may just look at him more as this is our fifth outfielder, as opposed to we need to let this guy develop into what he can become. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's all fair points. And like again, my biggest thing was this year, like what 2023 represented was true competition. Like there's enough players in this camp, there's enough talent in this camp now that people shouldn't be handed a job. You know, like Sawinski shouldn't come into camp looking too comfortable, like Tyler right now. But you know, with that said, like he hasn't, like it was his job to lose, right? And I'm not out here like just saying like he's looked abysmal and he's lost it, but all the concerns you've had for Jack Sawinski are, I feel like, elevated right now in spring training. Like, yeah, the slash line looks good, but and like you talk about how what he did last year should be in the back pocket, right? Like he did this, that's why he's in there. But also, Luke, at the same sense, like what he did last year was get sent down. Like what he did last year was show, like, hey, maybe you're not ready. You're striking out way too much. Like he was 0 for 32, I think, at that point in time, right when he got sent down. So and then he went to AAA, and the strikeouts were still very concerning, you know. And then after getting called up while still having the strikeout problem, he had it in the majors still, except for like maybe the last 2 weeks. It seemed like it maybe normalized a little bit. So like you came into this offseason with that problem, and you're showing that problem again. That's why I think it's a real question. Now, mind you, like you guys said, I feel like on the pirate sense, that's what they're going to do. And I think like reading Justice's article, you know, with Shelton, the quotes he said too, like it seems like he's entrenched, he's got it. So with that said, it's going to come down to, is it going to be Cannon Smith-Njigba or Swaggerty? And I think like I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be based on what the Pirates value. Do they value Cannon Smith's bat, or do they value Sawinski's defense? And the way we've seen the defense in the outfield this year, guys, it might be the defense. So I feel like that's why Swaggerty might have the upper edge right now. And then, like to your point too, Cannon Smith-Njigba gets everyday at bats in AAA instead of kind of wasting around on the roster spot as a fifth outfielder or fourth, you know, in such in Pittsburgh. So I feel like it's going to be Swaggerty that gets it. Which congrats to him, because he's having a great camp. And like I guess we kind of talked about, like things have not been in his favor. Right, like the unfortunate circumstances have happened. He's lost a season due to the pandemic. He lost season due to injury. So, like, good for him hanging around. He's performing now. He gets that spot. We'll see what he does with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a hell of a spring. I mean, the goal was for him to go out here and kind of squash concerns that, you know, his prospect status is over and that he's done. Like he's squashed that. I think everybody, even his biggest doubters, would say, you know, he's at least opened their eyes a little bit. But yeah, really good spring for Swaggerty. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's enough though to make the team. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this last week plays out. I could see it going either way.
I can see him just going Matthias over both of them, sending them down.
Oh. I guess there's our segue to Mark Matthias, right?
I don't want to see Mark Matthias. Please don't.
Yeah.
Because there you go. Let's get into second base battles now. Because I guess also technically he can play both. And that might just be it. They could say, well, you know what? We traded for Mark Matthias. He plays both. So screw everyone else. We're just going with our 2023 version of Josh Van Meter.
Yeah. So I think I joked about how he's this year's Josh Van Meter almost, but I don't think he's that bad. Like he's better than Josh Van Meter. He's shown at least a little bit of a track record of MLB success, whereas Van Meter never has.
Like
now,
games.
It was not a big sample size, right? Like, let's be clear. It was not a large sample size. I think, Tyler, you mentioned it was very like Greg Allen-esque, right? Yeah. Like it was 2021 Greg Allen. So, you know, you look at Mark Matthias and his body of work over his entire course of his career, and you know, he doesn't necessarily excite you in any way. I when it comes to second base and like that whole spot there, I think it's still Castro. I think it's got to be Castro's job, just based off of last year. Again, going back to kind of the Sawinski thing, like I don't think you can take away, like you can't take away what Castro did last year, just because he's had, you know, a rough 3 weeks in February and March, right? So I think Castro's the second baseman. Now that backup spot could be interesting. You know, I think I think Bay's got the leg up still because he's on the 40-man, but Matthias now beating on the 40-man and coming in. If he performs this last week, it could definitely be him, which I don't think any of us really saw coming at the beginning of spring because there were so many people competing for that spot.
It would be a real shame if after this many second basemen were acquired by Ben Sherrington, if Mark Matthias ended up on this opening day roster as a backup.
Yeah, I mean, that would just go to show you how, like, none of them panned out.
Yeah.
I mean, between Marcano, between Bay, I mean, you still had Gonzalez technically keep competing for a shot, and I think, you know, a lot of people would think that he should be ready by
You even
this
go back
point.
to Diego Castillo and Hoy Park.
Castillo,
All these guys acquired that just
Park, Van Meter.
did not work.
Right.
And Peguero's basically a second baseman now, too. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Tyler, it's a little bit disappointed in that sense, but I don't know. I view, like, with Castro, and you're saying the Castro Sawinski situation, it's fair. But what I think is when you look at what last year was, they're opposites. Like, Castro came up and struggled. And then he kind of figured it out, right? And he ended the season on a high note, where Sawinski came up and performed, and then he just struggled. So, like, if I were to say, like, who do I feel has, if I'm going to compare Sawinski and Castro, like, I feel Castro should be more entrenched into, given the role, like, less competition, more or less, than Sawinski would be. But it's fair. Like, at the end of the day, they're pretty much like the same type of player when you add it all up. It's just like the way their seasons progressed, right? But with that said, that's why I still, like, if I feel the same way for Sawinski, I do feel the same way for Castro. Like, he hasn't earned anything. And there's a lot of competition. I just think the difference is we're in the outfield situation. There is a Kenyon Smith-Njigba who's performing. There is a Swagger who's performing. Like, there's just nobody who's performing at second base. So if it was Castro's to lose, I could say he's losing it, but to who? Nobody.
Yeah,
so, like,
no
in
one's
that
taking
situation,
it.
I feel like it's just going to be him by default. Unless it's Matthias.
There's also something to be said about Castro being able to play shortstop and there not being a backup shortstop on his roster.
Fair.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's another good point. But yeah, I think that's a good one there. You mentioned, you know, Castro hasn't done anything to win the job, but, like, no one else has done anything to take the job from him. And I think he had the leg up going into spring training, which, you know, if that's the case and no one's taking the job from him, he's probably the guy.
Yep. So anything more about the competition?
I'm just checking on Jim's Starbucks order. It's now saying 8:30. It keeps getting delayed.
It is 8:03. This is fantastic.
It's a
That's
rough
one,
morning.
pal.
I
rough morning.
hope we have to leave.
That's real rough.
Jim doesn't get his coffee. Is there anywhere we have to be today? There isn't, though, huh?
No,
Son of a
we're
bitch.
good. We'll get it.
All right. Well, I guess with that said, if that wraps up the competition stuff, does that wrap up our show?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. No, it's been a fun week so far. Looking forward to the rest of the week. Should be a good time.
Same. So beach day today, hanging out today. We'll be back tomorrow with some Pirates City content that you guys will see eventually, and then some games. So with that said, let's get out of here. I'm going to drink my coffee. Tyler's going to drink his coffee. Cody will drink his as well. And we'll have a good day. So we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.